There we go. Hey everyone. Today I want to discuss a backyard ultra that I'm partaking in a couple days now. That's Death at Dupuis. So this video, just to set the precedence, it's going to be more laid back. It's going to be more conversational. I got some notes that I'm going to look at here. And while I have done videos like this before, I want to start doing more of this long form, relaxed, conversational content. I'm not calling it a podcast because it's definitely not going to be a podcast. It's going to be podcast-esque, laid back, conversational. And so this is going to be the first of that series with Death at Dupuis. And for this video, I'm just going to go over my game plan, what I'm going to do for pacing, my nutrition, some mental tricks and tips that I'm gonna do to to keep me in the race for over at least one, if not two nights. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's get right into it. So if you don't know what a backyard ultra is, you essentially run a 4.125-ish mile loop every hour on the hour. When you finish your loop, you have the remainder of the hour to do whatever you want to, rest, eat, maintenance, and then you start running again on that very next hour. Now, being that this is a last man standing, it means that there's only going to be one finisher. Everyone else DNFs. To be the winner, you either have to have all the competitors not finish the loop they're on or not get into the corral at the start of the next loop. So when it comes down to it, there's going to be one person that finishes that last loop. Everyone else is listed as a DNF. The current record for this format is 425 miles, which equates to 108 yards. And this was set by Harvey Lewis back in 2023. If you've been following along, this means that Harvey was on his feet running this race for a little under 108 hours with his with second place, with the assist coming in at about 107 hours. So with that info, it's no wonder I spent a ton of time planning, visualizing, training, and during all this planning and training, there's a lot going on in my head. So I'm making this video, this conversation piece for you guys to give you a preview of the race, but also for me to just voice some of my feelings, to calm my anxiety, to talk through my game plan. It really helps me say some of the stuff out loud and see if it passes the the bullshit test. So with that, I want to get into it, starting with what my goal is for this race. Essentially, my goal is to run, 204.183 miles. That will give me 49 hours or 49 yards. I really want to surpass the 200 mile mark. My longest race so far was 200 miles during the Across Florida 200 set with Matt Clapper. Matt Clapper's going to be at Death at Dupuis, by the way. So it would mean a lot to me if both me and Matt could go over that 200 mile barrier, hit 204 point whatever miles, and hopefully many more past that. As I mentioned, I did finish a 200 mile race. That's the Across Florida 200. That was in like 67 hours, but we had some pretty thick hydration packs on. We were only partially supported. Death at Dupuis, being that it's a last man standing, you start and finish at the same spot. Probably going to carry nothing but maybe a water bottle out on the course. You're going to have everything you need at that area. So every 4 point some odd miles, you're going to have all your gear. So I think that 48 hours for 200 miles, it is aggressive, but seeing that I've done 200 miles before, seeing that I've done a few races over 100 miles, I've done 108 miles or 106 at Cruel Jewel. I did 125 during Just Survive 125. And these were either partially or minimally supported races. So I just have really high confidence going into this that I'll be able to hit that 200 mile mark. Now, obviously, my secondary goal besides getting over 200 miles is to be the last man standing. This is just, it means a lot to me just to know that I could go that far to push my limits. But I'm also making a lot of videos on ultra running. And in order to seem legitimate to you guys, I want to show you that I can walk the walk and talk the talk. So if I can finish this first place, it kind of legitimizes a lot of the videos I'm making. I have some imposter syndrome where sometimes I feel like, it's my experience, but am I doing things right? Am I doing things wrong? So it's always positive when I finish a race strong to know that, hey, what I'm doing is right. And that I'm showing you guys that, I'm bringing you some good information and not just some BS that I'm coming up with on the spot. Now, yes, my goal is to hit 200 plus miles. It's a big goal. My goal is to be the last man standing. I honestly can't see any scenario where I don't come out in first place. All my training, all the visualizing, everything I've done, it's like, I just can't imagine myself not being the last man standing, coming around on that final loop and just with a smile on my face and winning. Unfortunately, I'm a realist too, so I know that there's like at least 3, 4, 5 guys and girls. Yeah, there's some strong women coming out too, that are all thinking the same thing I'm thinking, that are not planning on losing. In their minds, they're going to be the last person standing and they're going to go through hell to be that last person standing. I will say that I think that for these formats, if you don't have that confidence and think that if you don't know that you're going to be the last person out there going into it, I think the chances of you finishing and getting first place are slim to none. You need to go into these things with the utmost confidence in yourself and truly believe that you're going to be the last person standing. So yeah, I can't see a scenario where I don't win this thing, but I know that a lot of other people are going to have that exact same mentality going into this. So I think it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to have multiple runners go over that 200-mile mark. So yeah, I'm real excited. I can't wait. And that's actually a good segue into the next point that I want to make, which is competitiveness. All of these races, doesn't matter if it's an ultra marathon, 5K, 1 miler, you have competition around you. These are the people that you're trying to beat, essentially. I feel like a backyard is quite different where, at least in my mind, I am my biggest competitor, at least for the first 24 hours plus, because it's me battling against myself, my desire to not eat, my desire to run out too fast or to go too slow. So it's really going to be me battling myself in order to execute the perfect game plan. And up until the final few runners that are out there, I'm really not viewing my competition as competitors, essentially. These are fellow runners out here pushing themselves. I mean, if you've been in an ultramarathon or trail running at all, you know that everyone's so friendly. Even the top guys are so friendly. And so I plan on having conversations with everybody. I don't plan on doing any mind games or screwing around. I'm just out there putting down miles, trying to be the best that I can be. So fellow competitors, competition, all that out of the way, what's my plan? Because like I just mentioned, it's going to be me against myself. I have a very strict pacing plan. Honestly, I'm going to aim for 44 to 46 minute loops. So that's like 11 point something minute miles. In my training, I've been hitting like 10 and a half minute miles. It feels weird to slow down more than that. However, I know that going into a race, fatigue will hit, and so I think I'll fall into that sweet spot of 11-minute miles within the first few hours and just cruise at that point. Now I'm aiming for 44 to 46-minute loops because this is the perfect amount of exertion to rest ratio. There's a lot of data from other runners that has supported this, has shown this. You know, you can go out there, bust ass, do a 36-minute loop, and have 24 minutes to recover, but that recovery you do in the 24 minutes is not going to make up for that 36-minute effort that you did. If you have a nice, slow, relaxed effort, come in at like 44 minutes, and then have 16 minutes to rest, it just allows you to run longer periods of time. There's not a good return on investment for running too fast, although I also don't want to come in too late and only have like 2 minutes to change my socks or eat or something. So I think that 44 to 46 minute window will be perfect. However, overnight, maybe during the next day, I may try to do some 40 to 42 minute loops. This way I can have a bit of a longer period of time to try to fall asleep, get some rest. I think resting is going to be really tough in this race. I've gone 36 hours racing without sleeping, including before and after. That's like 44 or 48 hours. So I'm not necessarily adverse to staying up for long periods of time, but the more rest I can get, the more sleep I can get, even if it's like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, I think that'll increase my chances of winning exponentially. I think it'll be a big component to being positive and keeping on pushing those final few yards or loops. As for the food that I'm going to be bringing a ton of real food, a ton of racing food. By racing food, I mean the gels, the powders, the bars and stuff. I really want my nutrition to rely mostly on real food, turkey wraps, fruit, vegetables, and then use that racing food kind of in between to, supplement what I'm doing and make sure that I'm getting enough calories and enough electrolytes. I'm going to try to eat twice an hour, once at the end of the loop, when I'm sitting down and can digest, and then, like I said, a gel or maybe a bar while I'm out on the current loop. Just a few bites here and there. Just try to get as much calories and as much fuel in me as I can to just keep going. I found the earlier I eat and the more I eat, the better I do at the end of the race, especially at the end of a race. Your stomach hurts, you're only eating once an hour, once every 2-3 hours. And so I found that if you're really loading up early, it can kind of, make up for some of the mistakes you make later in a race. But for this one, there's really no room for mistakes. So I'm really going to try to be diligent on that nutrition for the entirety of the race. As far as like a macro or balance of calories, of protein, carbs, I'm just going to eat as much as I can, focusing on carbs, getting a little bit of protein, and then also trying to get a little bit of fat in there too. But I'm just going to go carb heavy, try to get the protein in there, and just go by off what I want to eat. Essentially, it comes down to it at the end of a race, it's what can I eat, not what I want to eat. You may want to eat, a whole platter of food, but you can only get down a certain food. And I plan on bringing it up so that, if I'm really not feeling it, I have enough options to pick and choose and, eat what I want. This may mean just drinking straight Coca-Cola. It seems to be my go-to drink at the end of a race is just, straight sugar, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, but, planning for everything. So you're touching back on sleep too, my sleep plan. Like I said, it's going to be getting sleep whenever I can, 5-10 minutes here. I'm going to focus on, at the end of a loop, sitting down, putting something over my eyes and just closing them every single loop, resting the body, resting the mind. If I don't get physical sleep, if I don't fall asleep, at least I'm there with my eyes closed, relaxing. This happened during a cross 4 to 200. We were, I wasn't sleeping at all and it sucked. But the few times that we did stop and rest, I just laid there, closed my eyes. When I got up, I was like, man, this kind of sucks. But I felt better, going into the next miles, and it kind of kept me going. When I did finally get real sleep, about 160 miles into that journey, I got 10 minutes of sleep. Man, I felt good. So I'm going to try to, get as much sleep as I can just to boost me up. But even if it's just laying down, closing my eyes, hey, I'll do that too. And I think I can go about 48 hours without sleep. Harvey Lewis, I think, went 48 hours without sleeping at all during one of his record-setting attempts. So, I'm not saying I'm at Harvey Lewis's level, but, I'm trying to get there. And if I get there, that'd be awesome. So, aiming for as much sleep as I can. But if it takes, 48 whatever hours to finally fall asleep, then, so be it. So my race plan, it can be summed up pretty much as run consistently, eat as much as I can, as early as I can, and try to sleep whenever I can. That's it. It may seem simple, and that's because it is. Backyard ultras are simple. They are super, super hard, but they're simple. You run, you stop, you rest, you eat, you run again. But that's the beauty in it. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not hard. And that's why Harvey Lewis ran 450 freaking miles. It's because this is a test of you against yourself, against the field. It's how far can you go in an almost ideal environment. The only more ideal environment is if you had a pacer running beside you the whole time and, handing you off stuff. You have your base camp, you have everything you need every 4 miles. This probably means, maybe a small water bottle being held on the loop, maybe one gel. You don't take much out there. It's just going to be doing the miles slowly and surely until one of us is remaining and everyone else has dropped out. And that's really the beauty in these ultras. That's why they're getting such a cult-like following. They're really incredible events. And while I like the longer distance stuff, the point-to-point stuff, that's really, man, that's my bread and butter. Just not, physically running, mentally, a point-to-point. God, that's so much fun. This race, one of my biggest concerns is that it's a loop. It's going to get boring. I get bored. I can only listen to so much music or audiobooks or podcasts before I'm going insane. I need to see something new. So that's really something that, I think that's the only battle that I have. The only trial that remains untested is how I do on these loop-like courses. Cause, I don't like it, but hey, I have everything else set. So if the biggest trial, the biggest tribulation is mentally, being engaged on these loops, then I think I can overcome that. What else? As you see behind here, this isn't just crap. This is the stuff I'm packing for the race. I got shoes, I got clothes, nutrition. This is only the stuff that I keep in the house. I got a whole boatload of shit in the garage. My canopy, my tent, my cooler. So, it's gonna be a legit aid station, every single loop. It is kind of stressful because what if I do drop out early and I have a mountain of shit? Honestly, I'd probably just stick around at the race and cruise someone else, but this is the first time I've actually thought about that. And like I said, my mind is completely on, I'm the last person there. So we're not going to think about that, not going to talk about that. But if I don't finish this race, it'll be because something pretty serious happened, pretty big injury, or at least a perceived injury. Like I got races coming up. I'm willing to cancel any of my upcoming races, but I got Cruel Jewel in a few months, which I should be healthy for. But my point is that if something's seriously wrong, if something's broken, or if something feels like, oh, I'm going to be out of running for like a year, yeah, there's more races out there. This is very important to me, but running is part of my mental health. It's part of my daily life. So I want to continue that. But if it's just a straight pain, something I can work through, nothing serious, yeah, I'm going to push. So if you do see me drop out early, I'll probably, I'll give you an update right away on what it was. And just to let you know right now, it's probably going to be because something was seriously fucked up in the moment. So that's pretty much it. I think I went over everything I wanted to go over. I'm just really excited to get out there. I am just so... There's a few races that I do where I just get so pumped up and I just want to go out there and see what I can do. And this is one of them. Man, my training, my recovery's been great. I got a bit of a cold right now, which kind of sucks, but hey, at least it's a couple days before and not on race day, so I'll be clear of that. And I'm just ready to go out and just reach my full potential. If you're not following me on Facebook or following Death at Dupuis on Facebook, please follow me or the race. There's going to be updates throughout the whole thing. It's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited to go out, run this thing, and also get more content from it. Like, I plan on making many videos from this race. I come up with a lot of my video ideas by running races, by in the moment, thinking about something, and I'll film, a quick snippet as an idea, and then I'll expand upon it. And I think this one's going to have a lot of content coming from it. One video that I'm planning on already filming is how to deal with sleep deprivation during a race, during an ultramarathon, for overnight multi-day events. And so I already have like a script written out, but I think it's going to make a really cool video if in the heat of the moment, 20, 30, 40 hours in, if I'm actually taking video of myself dealing with this stuff, performing the tips and tricks that I say in my videos. If you guys see me actually doing it, I think it'll give a little more, faith in that I know what I'm talking about. So I'm very excited. I don't know how to wrap this up because I'm just so excited about it. I want to keep talking about it. Honestly, part of the reason I'm making this video too is so I don't go out there and overtrain, overrun, lift more weights. I want to talk about the race, write about it, make videos about it. Anything besides, self-sabotaging. So with that, I'm going to end this here. I hope you follow the race. Hope you follow me. And I'm ready to go out there, kick some ass, get some amazing shit done. And if you're going to be at that race too, then man, I can't wait to run some miles with you.